so much you're back into the video. Today's video is one of Blaineley as the host instead of Chris. So this is the Pahkitew Island timeline, and we're going to get on to who actually won in All-Stars. So yeah, 73% goes Harold wanted to win, so Harold's the winner. Yeah, that's how busy I've been with other ideas, so just with this, so now we have Harold. Over nearly 200 of you guys actually voted. Thank you so much. And back to the theory. So first of all, because Blaineley's not nearly as psychotic as Chris is, Blaineley would just make everyone jump out the plane, and because it's so random, Blaineley would, the exact same teams would be the same as it was in the original. Blaineley would have them obviously making the best house they could live in, but she would obviously have cabins for them to live in the middle of the night. And the best house that can be livable wins the challenge. I still believe the 47 would win because there's no reason for the Bears not to win this challenge, lose this challenge, because guys like Leonard and Beardo and Dave are here. So I think, for me personally, I think it's very safe for me to say that the Salmon still win the challenge. The Floaters win the challenge. Amy and Tammy are arguing. Blaineley would announce the winner being the Floaters. Jasmine, Scar and Max are getting along. Sammy and Jasmine. Dave and Sky still have their interactions, and Sean still likes Jasmine. And Beardo is still the first boot, like he is in the original, because nothing suggests to me that Beardo, the same dynamics wouldn't happen on the same team. Episode 2. This is getting the pig over the obstacle course. So basically, Blaineley would explain the challenge and they would be on a rope. And rather than using their hands, Blaineley would say they have to use a trailer and push as a team to get across the finish line. So I think because there are more people on the floating salmon than there would be on the Bears, there's one deciding factor who would win the challenge, and that is Jasmine. You see, Jasmine's really strong. And Jasmine is pretty tough. And I don't think anyone else besides Sean is going to be that good at this challenge. So I do think the floating salmon's still in the challenge, because Leonard would still try to use his wizard's magic over the pig to get it over the wall. And a bit of a spoiler here, he still gets voted off. Episode 3 is the balloon challenge. And Topher will be a fan of Blaineley, but because she's a lot younger, I imagine he wouldn't be nearly as, like, he still wants to take over the show, like he does with Chris, but Blaineley would still admire him as well, as a fan. So, I think here, in episode 3, this is where the balloons challenge. Sugar doesn't like Ella, and Sammy and Amy still lose. Sammy does a switcheroo. Amy tries to say that she's Sammy, and I think Blaineley, because she's a lot more of an attentive person than Chris, she won't be fooled by this. She's going to know that Sammy tried to get her eliminated, and I think this will shock the others. But I feel like what would happen is Sammy was originally going to get eliminated, but because Blaineley would have saw the trick, I feel like Blaineley, because seeing the drama, would have think it's cooler to keep them both around. So I think what will happen is everyone would vote for Sammy because Blaineley would disqualify her for trying to take out another contestant, even though she knows it's her sister and it was wrong for what Amy did to her. I think Sammy gets eliminated because Blaineley would be a lot more aware of what actually happened to Sammy compared to Amy. She would know what they look like and all that because, like I said, she's more of an attentive person than Chris. So Sammy's out. Episode 4, The Truth is Scare. Amy would be happy her sister's gone, but Rodney would be sad. Jasmine will be really sad as well, and Scarlett as well. I think Amy would want to keep Rodney around because he'd be easy to manipulate. Amy would admit to not liking Sammy and like Amy's in the original. Rodney and Ella would have to do the tiebreaker. Rodney would lose the tiebreaker and he gets voted off. Episode 5 is the dueling sticks. So Max and Scarlett are getting on pretty well. And Topher, he's Topher, and Amy realizes she's kind of on the outs. So she tries to make an alliance with the villain. She goes to Scarlett and Max says we need to get rid of Jasmine or Topher, and says we should make a villain's alliance. Max accepts that's pure evil, and he accepts. Sean would be at the challenge first of all because Sammy would never return as a zombie as Amy did because there's no reason for her to come back. Because Amy only returned to the original because she was unfairly booted off. Jasmine would be more focused, she wouldn't get distracted. And it goes like this. Topher and Dave, neither of them get a point because they're wusses. Neither of them get a point. Amy and Sugar, Amy gets that point because I think Amy would be just as agile as Sammy was. Ella and Max, with Max using the eel, and of course, I think because Blaineley would say that's cheating, Ella would get the point. Scarlett and Sky would get enraged, and because Sean's more like Jasmine, he would know that Sky's pretty enraged, so he'd go next, sending him against Scarlett. And because Scarlett does an impressive dodge in the original, and I thought Sean would get the point, that's not the case, so I decided both of them would get the point. Jasmine and Sky. This is an enraged Sky, so I do think Jasmine would lose here, and Sky gets the point. Now, we get caught in a forest with Sean, and the points are random, as it could have been like Max versus Sean. Like I have no way of knowing who would go against who, but it was stated by Chris that both teams got a point, so I'm just going to say they both get a point. So you can go into montages, people fighting each other. So Dave and Topher again, neither get the point. Ella and then Max. Ella would still pacify the bear, but because Blaineley wouldn't have a problem with her singing, I don't think she would would ban her personally. And Sean, of course, I think the floating salmon win the challenge without them being distracted. And I think they vote for Sugar because it's a nice person against a horrible person. They're going to obviously keep Ella around. Even if Sky likes Dave, and despite her own feelings, she still likes Ella more as a person than Sugar. There's no reason for Sean not to go with that vote. Episode 6 is Momo Monkey. So, Amy and Scarlett talk about the villains alliance and are annoyed at Max for being the henchman. But Amy wants to get rid of Jasmine or Topher because she realizes they would be easy to manipulate. But Scarlett realizes that Jasmine's the only reason that they're winning challenges at this point. So I feel like what would happen is Dave originally gets the banana from breakfast, but then loses the banana because Sugar eats it. So nobody would be dumb enough to eat the banana. So Blaineley would explain to get the banana from the monkey, and obviously Blaineley would make sure that nobody gets hurt from like any wild animals. So Ella would never have to sing. However, Max wouldn't simply have enough time to lay traps with Scarlett and Amy, but I still think Topher would try to get Blaineley's phone, because at this point in the season he's trying to be the host, and I think Blaineley just is the type of person who I think Topher probably can't get her phone. If I'm being honest, she's very fashionable, she's on topic, like she's up to date with all newses, and I think he could be successful considering the fact that he was able to get Blaineley, and Blaineley could play Topher. I feel like he would get now Chef's phone because Blaineley's more popular kind of with her phone, because he would try to replace Chef, I think, because Blaineley and him are similar ages. It's never really said how Topher got Chris's phone, but it's assumed that obviously Chris knew, so I'm just going to assume Topher does the same thing with Blaineley and Blaineley gets her phone.
And everyone votes for Max because he's the most annoying. But Amy and Scarlett think, is it worth it to get rid of Max at this point in the game because they have a majority? Jasmine would vote for Amy. Topher votes for Amy. Scarlett and Max would think, would they get rid of Amy? I think Max wouldn't. I think Scarlett would be smart enough to realise Jasmine's too useful at this point to get rid of. Because Jasmine's the only reason that they're winning challenges.
Okay. So, in the end, it's very, very close. But I think, ultimately, they decide to vote. They do decide to vote Topher because the reason they vote for Topher is because he is the least helpful in challenges besides Max. And Amy and Scarlett, I think, do vote for Max, even though they're in an alliance. This shocks Max, but because Ella never sings, there's no reason for Max, obviously, not to be saved. Which really sucks, because I love Max as a character. And he's out. Episode 7, this is the pits. Amy and Scarlett would work together. I think the villains do stick together. Vote Topher. Scarlett comes as Amy one more time. Keep Jasmine. But next time doing elimination, Scarlett realises that Jasmine might be getting voted off unless she votes for Sammy or Max. Topher is devastated and pleads his... Obviously, Sammy pleads his case to Blaineley that he should be on the show, the perfect host. Blaineley says it's a shame, he had potential. Topher is sobbing and then reveals a call that he had Chris's phone. That Blaineley and Chef realizing, seeing a bit of his former self in Topher, stands up with Blaineley and says we should actually have the younger generation to help with our TV show. So I think Topher, instead of being eliminated, would now become an intern. And that is it. I think he does become an intern. At this point, Topher has officially joined Blaineley and Chef as the hosts of the whole drama. I think it's very, very close. Scarlett flips and votes for Max. Max is pretty shocked that he's eliminated, but Scarlett would find him more annoying than Amy because there's more chaos on the team with Jasmine and Amy. Amy realized that one of them flipped on Max. That's the plan, was to get rid of Jasmine, but Scarlett went over to Jasmine and Topher and says, I'll vote Max with you, that way you're safe. But Jasmine wants to get rid of Amy and makes a deal saying, next time I'll help you get rid of Amy, meaning that Max is eliminated. Because Ella never sings, there's no reason for her to get eliminated, and Blaineley would not allow her to be disqualified. Episode 7, this is the pits. Jasmine would still be freaking out in this episode. Ella would hold the slug instead of Dave. Amy and Scarlett would be together and find that remote that Chris does, that remote that basically they're doing the original, like Max and Scarlett doing the original. Topher would be trying to calm down Jasmine in this situation with his hosting skills because he never would have got Chris's phone. And I imagine that in this situation that neither of them would cross the finish line, and Blaineley basically says this is a non-elimination round. Sky and Amy swaps teams. Sky and Topher swap teams because I think it's more interesting for having them swapping over. Actually, Amy and Scarlett were very close, so I think Blaineley would actually get Scarlett to swap over to the Confused Bears because she would think would add Amy to the Bears. Episode 8, To His Own Little Baby. I think Topher, Scarlett still distracts them. Jasmine says, wouldn't say never trust boys because she never would have fallen out with Sean. Ella's still here, and obviously she would pacify the bear chasing Topher. And because Topher never gets that call from Chris, the Falling Salmon were originally going to win the challenge, but the only reason they lost was because of Topher. So I do think they win the challenge. And unfortunately for Amy, it's her time to go. Sean and Dave are close, and Ella, they're not going to vote with each other. They're not going to vote Amy because she's an outsider. Amy's annoyed at her team for voting her off and swears vengeance. And Blaineley announces the merge. So we actually have a very different merge. And Jasmine, Sky, Scarlett, Topher, Sean, and Ella. So Topher is here and Ella instead of Max. That's really it. There's not instead of Max. Topher's here instead of Max. And Ella's here instead of Sugar. In episode 9, we have Eat, Puke, Me, Worry. Now, obviously, the puking challenge, Blainey wouldn't make them eat puke, so I imagine it would just be fancy or disgusting food. That Blainey would make them eat disgusting food. Obviously, not as disgusting to the point where it would make them really sick. It would just make them basically, not want to eat it. And I think that Sky would win the challenge. Because she wins it like she does in the original. Topher and Ella doesn't strike me as someone who would be able to eat it as fast. So she wins the challenge. Dave and Ella are hiding together, and Sean and Jasmine will be together. Scarlett would realise that she needs to make an alliance with someone fast, and she would see Topher as an easy option, as he's hosting, but he's such a narcissist to the point where he might not accept. So Sky would end up capturing Dave and Ella. And I think she also still gets Scarlett because she's testing the remote, which obviously Amy would never throw away. Topher, he gets caught because I don't think it would take much to capture him. But I can now see Jasmine or Sean getting captured. This is because Sean originally sacrificed himself to save Jasmine, but because there would be no zombies and he'd never have that realization that he likes Jasmine, I think that they win the challenge. Meaning Sean, Jasmine, and Sky win immunity. Dave would still want to quit after believing Sky doesn't like him, so there's no reason for Dave not to get voted off. Episode 10 is Scarlet Fever. So Blainey would announce that the challenge is trying to stop the lion from blowing up. Obviously, at first she would pretend, but she would also send secretly Chef and herself to try and prevent this from happening. Because she obviously wouldn't want her contestants to be killed, so she would go out with them and saying the team that wins will win immunity. So Jasmine and Sean, Scarlett and Sky, which leaves Ella and Topher. Sky and Topher, which leaves Ella and Sky. And then Scarlett would still, I think Scarlett could trick Topher into obviously trying to go over the island. Sean would be afraid of the zombie robots because he never had that realization in episode 6. In episode 5 with Jasmine, so Jasmine would have to defend herself, which she's really annoyed at. And I think Jasmine would win the challenge, meaning she and one other person wins immunity. And I think even though she would be annoyed at Sean, I think she would accept taking Sean to the end. And Blainey would announce there's no elimination tonight because Scarlett's just automatically eliminated after this challenge. Episode 11 is the race to the top. At this point, Jasmine and Sean's trying to make it up to Jasmine, but she's not having it. They're racing to the top. I think Topher and Ella, they're just okay. Ella goes to Sean and he tries to ask her for some advice. Says, save Jasmine from a situation. Sky and Ella are traveling together, Topher's by himself. Jasmine could definitely make it to the end, and Sean and Sky. So between Ella and Topher, I do think Ella would I do think Topher would make it before Ella. Actually, we do see that Ella is stronger in the dueling sticks episode, so I do think Topher gets eliminated. So Blaineley and Chef will wish Topher farewell, which Topher obviously being upset that he didn't get to join the show. You know, him trying to go over as host. And Blaineley says just hand him his resume and next season she might consider him, which he's delighted over. Episode 12. Basically, it's make their own challenge, and Jasmine's, I have no idea. They have to make their own challenge. Okay. So, we're just going to stick with the challenge what they were in the original. So, first, second, third. Jumping over the tree. The hurdles. First, Sky. Second, Jasmine. Third, Sean. The talent, Ella would win the talent contest. Second, Sean. Third, Sky. Fourth, Jasmine. And if we just do this. So basically, first place gets 4, second gets third, third's 2, and last 1. So I tallied the points. Jasmine came first once, meaning second, third once, and last once. Meaning that when I tallied up the points, Jasmine and Sean both got 8, Sky got 9, and Ella got 6. So Sky wins the challenge. So Sky wins immunity, and I think due to Ella being asked, she's just automatically eliminated. So fourth place is Ella. So between Jasmine and Sean, it's a bit tricky for Sky to figure out who she would take to the end. However, I do think she would take Sean, because Sean would be a much weaker opponent in the finale. On top of the fact she would have seen how threatening Jasmine would be in this scenario. So, however, there's always the chance Sean could self-sacrifice. But I think ultimately Jasmine is eliminated. So, third place, Jasmine. And basically, Sean and Sky are in the finale again. I think this is the first Blaineley timeline I've had the exact same finale. Sean gets Jasmine, Sky gets Dave. And obviously, Sean wants to split the prize money with her, but because obviously Jasmine and Sean made up quite a bit at this point, then Blaineley would try to get them sabotage each other. Jasmine and Dave refuse. Dave obviously wouldn't go mental over Sky because Blaineley wouldn't reveal that she has a boyfriend. I think that she probably would do that. Wouldn't do that. And Sky could just tell Dave herself. Then I think what would happen is Sean would still get Jasmine the flower and she would forgive him, so they each get winning endings, and the winner would be Sean. So that's it for this video. Thank you guys for watching. This is the information I think season would have gone. So yeah, that's the complete timeline if Blaineley was the host. Obviously, I'm still having Sean win the finale because he's the original winner. And this is also why I'm not putting up a poll. I'm pretty surprised with this because I also got my Chase video done. And please check it out because I think that's a class video. But basically for Chase, I'm not going to spoil it, but I had a similar concept for it. And it was pretty surprising. So I'll have to keep that in mind when I see other videos. And when I do other videos like this. And yeah, peace farewell.